Alright, let's try this again. Okay, have you ever wondered why in the world we need a playoff system, especially in the world of NASCAR? Have you ever wondered why we needed it? Was it because the championship was becoming too boring when it comes to all 36 races matter, or is it because the fact that they just want to make it intense, or vice versa? Or is it the fact that they just want to fuck every Jeff Gordon fan out there and anybody who doesn't like the chase for that matter? Yeah, I'm probably one of those people that don't like the chase necessarily when it comes to which driver I root for. But this is I'm only going to talk about this very little. Not sure how long this video will be, but whatever. It's a Saturday night. Have my Coca-Cola ready. Alright, enough of the bullshit. So yes, in case if you're wondering, or you've been hiding under a rock, or you're like the guy who was on top of the fence at Richmond International Raceway, Brad Keselowski won the race. Therefore, he's the new championship leader once again. Just like in 2007, Jeff Gordon dominates the regular season. Then when it comes to the 26th race of the season, buried. And doesn't come out with the championship lead going into the chase. Instead, we have Brad Keselowski, the winner, the new points leader. Jeff Gordon, second in the race, now second. Well, tied for second with Jimmy Johnson and Joey Logano. Like I said, Gordon can't afford it, but now let's just hope the next 10 races Jeff Gordon finally gets his 5th title. Should be his 7th if you consider the Winston Cup era, but then again, what happened in the Winston Cup era was just that different. Because that was back in the day when you had to compete for every single race, all 36 races. Or then again, back in Winston Cup, even further into the 90s, there were like 28, 30, 29, 30, 32, 33 races before in 2001 to the present we've had 36 races. Man, I am not happy. I considered not doing this review because I was so not happy that Keselowski won. And the interesting thing about it, he was going to be my guy. Like, when he won the title, he was going to be my guy, and then Talladega happened. Obviously, just one incident. I don't necessarily dislike him compared to Clint Boyer, compared to a lesser extent Jeff Burton, but even more Jimmy Johnson. Okay, let's get the whole Jimmy Johnson discussion out of the way, because I really do not want to discuss much about Jimmy Johnson, especially given the fact that that Jimmy Johnson, what he went through after the race, obviously, you have your drivers, you have people you do not like, you cannot stand them to death, no matter what. You wish that they suck or get out of their lives. But when it comes to like health issues or any of that, you must put your hatred, all your hatred towards an individual, put it in the backseat. Don't even consider that thought. For obviously what happened with Jimmy Johnson is a darn shame. I feel hopefully Johnson's okay. He suffered like dehydration after the race. I hope he's okay. But like I said, like I've been vocal about it, I cannot stand Jimmy. But when it comes to that situation, the hatred doesn't matter. It literally doesn't. I just hope he's okay, though. Hopefully there's more updates as far as Jimmy's conditions, because you don't want that from anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. If the dehydration happened to Clint Boyer, Jeff Burton, Tony Bennett in NASCAR, and those type of people, I would feel the same way as I feel for Jimmy. I feel bad for them. Hope they're okay. Obviously, I do not wish death upon. I do not wish them to get hurt. Because obviously, life happens. It does. So hope Jimmy is okay. and hopefully nothing serious than a dehydration happen, because I hope it does factor with the next. What probably it won't. Probably it won't. So yeah, let's just hope he's alright though. I hope Jimmy's okay, regardless of my opinions and preferences. Alright. But the chase real quick, because this is gonna be, like I said, this is gonna be like pretty as for a preview of the chase this year, my predictions, my thoughts, what I don't like about, and vice versa. Like I said, I don't know how long this video will be. It could be 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, depends how I feel like talking. Obviously, we don't have an updated point standings yet, but obviously, Keselowski, obviously Keselowski is the championship leader. Ugh. I cannot stand the Penske drivers. The NASCAR drivers who drive for Roger Penske, Brad and Joey, I cannot stand. Brad, it's just a Dega thing. I don't really hate him as much. It's Logano. It's just Logano. His punk-ass bitchy ways of saying stuff. Michigan. Michigan. Like I said, I can't stand Logano this year. I cannot. I do not want him to win the title. I don't. It is weird to me that I cannot stand the Penske drivers from NASCAR, but I don't hate the IndyCar drivers, which is Helio Castroneves, Juan Montoya, and Will Power. Speaking of Will Power, he won the IndyCar championship. Good for him. It's about time. But at the same time, poor Helio Castroneves as well. He's still yet to win the championship. Yet to win the IndyCar championship. Will Power finally got his title that he deserved. So obviously, congrats to Will. Good, excellent season for Penske. Even Juan Montoya came back. First year in major open wheel, as far as American open wheel is concerned, since 2000. Obviously, he drove Formula 1 from 01 to 06. But coming back in the open wheels and finishes in the top 10 in points, that is really impressive. He won Pocono, the triple crown of the 500 milers, Pocono, Indy, and Fontana. Yeah, so I find it weird to me that I do not like the NASCAR drivers from Penske, yet I don't care or much as far as, or to put it in better words, dislike the IndyCar drivers. I don't dislike them. I respect all three of them. I respect Castroneves. Speaking of Castroneves, was that really him on the fence? No, he put that away. I saw it myself. Like, somebody climbed the fence. What? Helio Castroneves? Somebody. I saw it to the guy who was in the grandstands. Like, leave it to the pros like Helio Castroneves and Tony Stewart. Oh boy, I still remember 2005. Tony Stewart did that every time he won. Wasn't a Stewart fan then. No, I wasn't a Stewart fan at the time. I respect his career. Obviously, what happened, I really do not want to go into detail on what happened. Obviously, everybody in the racing community knows what happened with the Stewart. I'm not going to put my opinion on that at all. Obviously, it was at the time I did not like Tony. The 2000s when he was with Gibbs, that's where kind of. But I respect his career. Obviously, he's one of the very rare guys who can do it all. He can drive open wheels. He can drive quarter measure, sprint car, dirt, stock cars. In fact, he won the IndyCar championship when it was known as the Indy Racing League, when it was the second season of the IRL, when it was 96-97. I find it odd that he didn't win until Pikes Peak 97. He almost won at Texas, the infamous race at Texas, when he was leading with a few laps to go. He was en route of his first win, and then his engine blew up, and then Billy Boat went by. Billy Boat won the race, and then all of a sudden, a scoring error from USAC. Yes, USAC was the official scorer at the time, even in the IRL in the beginning. They gave Ari Leyendijk the win. Obviously, the race is infamous for that, as well as AJ Foyt slapping Billy Bowden, getting to no, Ari Leyendijk. Billy Bowden was the driver for Foyt. Yeah, Ari Leyendijk. Why did I say Billy Bowden? That's the driver for Foyt. Ari Leyendijk is the one who protested and said he won it. In fact, they said that Leyendijk lapped Billy Bowden. Alright, that's your little IndyCar story for you, but this year in general with Penske, I can't stand Logano this year. Mainly has to do with Texas. Should have gone by him before the white flag. It would have helped. Now Gordon has 2 losses on last lap passes. Obviously, the 3x3 at the line at Talladega. That is shit in comparison to the Darlington race in 03. That one was organic. The 2003 Dodge Carolina Dealers 400 at Darlington. Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch. Had that race had gone one more lap, Dave Blaney would have won the race. The 77 Jasper car. Dave Blaney would have won that race because he was catching both Craven and Busch. Obviously, the 3x3 at the line from Talladega in 2011 and 2003 at Darlington are tied for the closest margin of victory with 2 1,000ths of a second. Obviously, the record all time is 1 1,000th of a second when Butch Miller beat Mike Otto in 1995. See, this is why I called it a sauce preview fact, because obviously, but let's get to the main story, the chase. Chase for the Sprint Cup, 2014, way better than last year. This one is a lot better. No drama, no controversy, none of that bullshit garbage from last year. Then again, last year was NASCAR. It was definitely the worst. The worst season ever. I don't give a fuck about what happened in 2013. That year is somewhat dead to me. Same 2012, Bristol 2006. The one time when Carl Edwards jumped the restart, that one's kind of dead to me, but because obviously I was still when I didn't really like Tony. Jeez. Note to myself, do not go on the NASCAR.com website because obviously they will play audio, let alone I got Racing Reference to look up all this stuff. Ugh. I apologize if it's going as scattered as far as what I'm talking about because right now there's no point standings update that I have. I'm not going to look up I'm just waiting for a new update. Okay, I'll give you the point standings as far as after the race. Obviously, this is the regular season points. Obviously, it doesn't mean shit to anybody at this day where they are now because obviously Keselowski in the Winston Cup point system, well, it's not really a Winston Cup point system anymore because obviously with the fewer points, the 43 points for the win plus all the bonuses. Talk about the regular season. The regular season. No matter what, Jeff Gordon beat Dale Earnhardt Jr. by 30 points. Brad Keselowski 83 points behind in third. Johnson's fifth in the points. Joey Logano fourth. Yeah. But when it comes to that, everybody's mind is like, oh, Jeff Gordon leads Dale Jr. by 30. That doesn't mean shit. It's Brad Keselowski's the championship leader because he got more wins than Gordon. I'm not going to talk about Brad. I'm not going to talk about the race point system as far as Gordon being second because obviously it's too comes into play, Howden could be crucial to start off because obviously you have 4 rounds. You have the first 3 races, bottom 4 eliminated. This race 4 to 6, the next bottom 4 are eliminated. Then you have 8 guys from race 7 to 9, and then into the final race you have your final 4. Speaking of the final 4, I still have that thought as like, if Kyle Larson makes the chase, if he somehow pulls some huge run like Tony Stewart did in 2011 and wins the championship and somehow ends up in the final 4, I don't know how would I react. I probably will flip or be I don't know how would I react. But then again, Kyle Larson is not in the chase. Obviously, what happened a couple races ago pretty much killed his chances. Damn, I really wanted Larson to make it. I really did want Larson to make it. Look, if you look at it, if he finished in the if he did not DNF in Daytona or in Michigan when he had to hit the wall in the fire when he was in, Larson would have been in. Biffle would have been the odd man out. And we're going into the chase. Matt Kenseth. Matt Kenseth has yet to win a race. He has not won at all. At this point, a year ago, Matt Kenseth was the only one that can compete to Jimmy Johnson. Only one, basically. Besides Jimmy Johnson, it was Matt Kenseth, the other one you wanted to beat, the guy to beat. You got to consider Kevin Harvick as well. You got to consider Kevin Harvick as a threat. Obviously, Logano will be a threat. Hope not, but somehow he will. Let's see. Let's take a look at the 16 drivers who are in the chase. The 16 guys who are in the chase. I'm going to give you my thoughts as far as what do I think they have a good chance or not have a good chance, and how far will they go? How far will they go? Right. Then again, nobody watches these types of videos of our NASCAR fans sharing their opinions to begin with, or it doesn't matter how long I take or what kind of topics I talk about, because nobody gives a damn about people's opinions as far as NASCAR, because you don't see it out there on YouTube. You don't. You don't. Alright. Jeff Gordon. Obviously, I want him to win the championship. I feel like it's his year, but he needs to start winning and be very strong. Pit crew has to really improve. His resources has gotten better, but the pit crew is always the ultimatum, in my opinion. He got him better, but I still think they need progress. Like I said, the race to watch out for as far as what could make or break Jeff Gordon is obviously Texas. He finished second, yes, but it's Texas and it's Jeff Gordon. It's hit or miss. Make the Final Four. I want him to be in the Final Four. But I feel like he'll somehow be in the Final Four regardless. I put Gordon in my Final Four. Alright, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Here's the thing, chips anymore, really. It doesn't, and if you finish second, fifth, it depends who gets the wins and who's more stronger, who gets the higher average finish these days. That's how Stewart won the title over Carl Edwards. My question is, can Dale Jr. win? Yes, he's got 3 wins. He swept Pocono. He swept Pocono? Yes, he swept Pocono. Yes, Pocono. Daytona 500 is the other win, of course. Junior, I'm not sure where I would put Junior. Would he? Obviously, he'll pass the first round. He'll get through the first round. He'll get through the first round. Second round, I think he can make it past. Not sure where would I put him in my Final Four or in the. Have him where I have him. All right, Brad Keselowski, obviously he'll be a contender. Obviously he's turning things around. He won in Richmond. Whoop-de-doo. Unfortunately, for a Gordon fan like me, and probably a good number of them that probably have the same feelings as I do, he's automatically a threat. He can adapt to all these tracks and all. So basically, Keselowski will be a Final Four contender for that fact. Plus, he's won the title in the chase. He's won it before in the chase era. So obviously that will help him. Sticky. But yeah, going back to Gordon, Dover. Dover's another track I would keep an eye on. Dover is a hit or miss for Gordon as well sometimes. At least he got Richmond down. He finished second of both of them. Should have won the other one, in my opinion. This one, I didn't give a fuck who won. I didn't care if it was jackass Clint Boyer. Sorry, I'm not a Boyer fan, if you're wondering. Who else? I didn't care if it was Harvick, because he has 2 wins, so he would have been a threat to Gordon's championship lead. I didn't care if it was McMurray. McMurray needed a win. So I didn't care who won as long as it wasn't Logano. It wasn't Jimmy Johnson. Dale Jr. I like Jr. But he also has 3 wins. That's the thing. But enough of that. I'm done. I'm done discussing about Keselowski as far as in general for tonight. I may bring him up somehow. I'll bring him up somehow. But I'm done. For competitor. At best, he'll be Elite 8. He'll be Elite 8 at best. End of story. I don't even want to talk about Logano at all either. And then there's Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson. I do not want to rant about him, especially what happened tonight. I don't want to rant. There's no point of ranting about it. I've already explained enough. I think he'll be Final Four no matter what. I have to admit he'll be a Final Four contender. Ken Siff, on the other hand, he hasn't won a race. He's got to step it up. I don't see him being. He's definitely not going to be in the Final Four. Could he be Elite 8? Yes, Elite 8 at best. Ken Siff will be for the chase. Kevin Harvick. He'll be a threat, but he's had so many second place finishes. If you can imagine, if he didn't have all the bad, Harvick would have been championship lead. He would have 6 wins, and I would have not been bitching or moaning about Gordon losing the championship lead by now. But obviously, what happens in racing happens is the good, the bad, the ugly, and the in between. So that's it. Harvick. I'm going to put him on with Dale Jr. as far as I'm not sure where he'll end up. Obviously, both Jr. and Harvick, they'll be up in the Elite 8. For sure. Ryan Newman, no. Ryan Newman will not get through the Elite 8. He might have a good showing, but keep in mind, here's the thing. He's the only Childress car in the chase. Obviously, with Menard is having a better season. He's been staying in the top 20. Because normally when it comes to Paul Menard, he has a good start, always does well in the beginning of the season till the end. He kind of fades away as far as being the consistent factor of auto racing. Through the Elite 8, at most he'll be at. No, wait a minute. Confusing it. The Big 12. Yeah, let's go with the Big 12. Final Four, Homestead. Race 7 and 9. I know they have specific names for it, but I'm just going to go with how I see things. Elite 8 will be race 7 and 9. Race. And obviously the first 3 races are the Sweet 16. Obviously, the chase is anything but sweet, to be quite honest. All right, Newman will make it through the next round, but that's it. Carl Edwards, just make it through the next round. Greg Biffle, I don't see him advancing. I don't. So Biffle will not make it through the first round. So he'll be out after 3 races. He's the first one I have. So those are, how many do I have? It's 2, 4, let's see, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10. There's 10, I got 6 more guys. Let's see, you have Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, AJ Allmendinger, Eric Almirola, Casey Kane, and who am I missing? Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is in, right? Yeah, he should be in, of course. NASCAR. Still waiting for the official point standings to share it for you guys. Obviously, I cannot look it on the website for multiple reasons. So, yeah, Busch is, and he won. He won in Fontana, of course, that classic race in Fontana when Landon Castle almost won the race. He had a good shot at winning. All right. Kurt Busch, he's in for the win in Martinsville. He's been struggling. He's now unofficially 20th in the regular. He finishes 20th in the regular season points. Do I see Kurt Busch advancing through round number 2? Let's see, you guys. You have Hamlin, Allmendinger, Almirola, Kane, and Kurt Busch. I just don't. Kurt Busch. Because I know for my Sweet 16, I have the obvious ones that won't make. I think Kurt Busch will be out after the first 3 races. So I have him with Biffle, not advanced. They'll be in the bottom 4 when it's all said and done after 3 races. So pretty much the cutoff line per race is Dover is the cutoff line. Then it's Talladega. And then Phoenix are the 3 cutoffs before the final 4. So yeah, Kurt Busch, I have him with Biffle. They'll be out after Dover. Alright. Denny Hamlin. 19th in the point. He missed 1 race, of course. He would probably still be 19th regardless, depending how he would have done, or 18th. Right now, the regular season, it shows Vickers is 18th. Brian Vickers, I said this throughout, it's out of my mind throughout the race about Brian Vickers. Brian Vickers, not 1 race this year he's been a contender or had a strong showing that I know of. Not 1. Last year, every race that he entered, we were like, oh, Brian Vickers is in the race. We're talking about last year. If Brian Vickers is in this race, guaranteed he'll get a top 10. He'll do really well, or a top 5. Maybe he'll win like he did at Loudon. Vickers has not been a factor at all. Michael Walter Racing in general, not good at all. You saw, obviously, Boyer didn't make the chase. He finished third in the race. Yeah, he finished third in the race, but obviously he did not have the win or the points to beat Greg Biffle. 7 points. 7 points is the margin of victory between both Biffle and Clint Boyer. Alright, as far as Denny Hamlin's concerned, he'll be at best into the... Denny Hamlin, can he show momentum? Can he show momentum? That's the big question for Denny. I think he can. He's been doing pretty decent as of late. Obviously, he's got a couple of low finishing decisions as far as the last 5 to 6 races before going into the chase. As far as where would I put Denny Hamlin, I think I'll have him. I'm gonna put him with Dale Jr. and Kevin Harvick on the holding list. As far as I gotta see how I put people. AJ Allmendinger and Eric Almirola, they're automatic. I'm wondering how they're gonna do. Obviously, they're the ultimate underdogs. They got those big wins. Almirola in Daytona in the July race, and Allmendinger in that classic battle with Marcus Ambrose at Watkins Glen. They're not going to advance. Unfortunately, they're not. Then again, maybe this bracket will bring something to the table. I don't know. I'm not sure how that's going to happen, but it could happen. That's why you have your Final Four. That's why you have to be really good and win races this year more than ever, which is kind of unfortunate. Yes, Gordon had 3 wins. He did what he had to do. But when it comes to the big picture as far as winning races when he needed to more than anything else and prevent others that are on his mark, and as I'm thinking right now, it's like, oh boy, here we go again. I'm talking about Gordon and Keselowski. Sorry, you got to look at the stats. This year's the chase you have to win. No matter what. It doesn't matter if you have a shitty season, as long as you're in the top 30, you can make it in. If Landon Castle won at friggin' Fontana. Landon Castle won at Fontana. Wait a minute. I don't think he's eligible. Wait a minute. He's not he's not eligible. So one way or the other doesn't even matter. Castle drives the 01 car in the Nationwide Series. The now new Xfinity Series. I still confuse Landon Castle with Mike Wallace in the 01 because he drove it a couple of seasons ago. I was going to say, if Landon Castle won... Alright, better example. You can have a shitty season and still be in the chase like a Martin Truex Jr. or a Casey Mears or even Michael Annett could have won. Michael Annett had a really good run at Fontana. He did me pretty good in the fantasy league before I kind of stopped doing it. After Richmond, I think it was, or Fontana, I don't remember. It was early in the season. I tried to come back to the fantasy stuff, and then didn't work out. Obviously, it wouldn't work out, among other things, but that I will not discuss in this random discussion about NASCAR and the chase. Okay, Allmendinger, Almirola, they're the definitely bottom 4. Casey Kane won in Atlanta. Yes, he won in Atlanta. The last video I made, I talked about it, is like Casey Kane is the only Hendrick driver to not only have. Casey Kane not only didn't have 3 wins, everybody from Hendrick does. Kane didn't have none going into Atlanta, and obviously he did a wonderful job. He made a huge comeback after the caution that ultimately led to the green white checkers. Like, oh, you gotta be kidding me! Casey Kane is fucked. Jimmy Johnson is gonna win. He may not get. Some people will go with strategy. Obviously, they did. And Casey Kane almost lost the race because of it. But then the restart. Kevin Harvick hit the wall. Danica Patrick somehow made it through the top 5. Casey Kane made it through, and then Casey Kane won the race at Atlanta. Danica Patrick finished 6th. I was so glad Casey Kane won because I felt like it must have sucked for Casey Kane if he doesn't win. Because if you look at the points, he would have. Kyle Larson and Clint Bowyer are ahead of Kane, and so is Biffle. So had he not won at Atlanta, Kane would not be in the chase. Instead, we would have had Bowyer. And, oh my goodness. At least Clint Bowyer said in an interview or a discussion, he does not want to have that thing happen again. So I gotta give him props for that because I don't want to see it ever happen again. I think a lot of people don't want to see it ever happen again, so it doesn't matter. But Clint Bowyer, at least he said something about it, so I'll give him props. I'll give him props for that because I do not want to see that. It should never happen again. Should never happen again. What happened last year at Richmond? I didn't even saw the end of the race. I didn't know what was happening until I was reading all the social media posts and vice versa and the NASCAR news because obviously I think it was the night I was It was the night when Washington State beat USC. And college football, as I'm referring to, it's the same night when SC lost. It's when they had Lane Kiffin. Fuck that Lane Kiffin mother. You know what? Kiffin is gone, so it doesn't matter. Obviously, this is not even good. This is not a football. This is not a football video. This is a NASCAR video. Move on. Casey Kane. Obviously, we have the Sweet 16. My bottom four are Biffle, Kurt Busch, Allmendinger, and Almirola. Not in that order, though. They're not in that order. As far as how am I going to rank them, I can't really tell. So obviously, I can predict. Obviously, I'm going to make it biased a little bit to help Gordon, but I'm just saying what will happen. So I'm making predictions as far as who moves on, who doesn't. And whatever happens in Homestead, happens in Homestead. Doesn't matter who. Alright. Casey Kane, Big 8 at best. I think he'll make it through the first round for sure. I think he may have a little competition with Kurt Busch or Biffle, but in the end, Casey Kane moves on. But after Talladega, he will be out of contention. Oh, Kyle Busch. Second time this decade, folks. He led them all in a nationwide series race. He led every single lap at Richmond last night, 250 of 250 laps. The same thing he did at Phoenix in 2011. Remember back in the day, in 2002, Jeff Burton led all 147 laps at Darlington, the Busch Series race, or the time Dale Earnhardt Jr. led every single lap at Daytona, and the Busch Series race as well, 100 laps out of 100. Those four, along with Jeff Burton leading all 300 at the race allowed in 2000 with restrictor plates, even though he wasn't the pole sitter, if I remember, it was Bobby Labonte. So technically in the record book, there was one lead change. Because obviously, if somebody other than the pole sitter leads the first lap, it's considered as the first lead change. I find it weird that they go with that route, but understandable. Those four they can be compared, but they're all from different tracks. Look at Kyle Busch. He did it at Phoenix. He did it at Richmond, both short tracks. Dale Earnhardt Jr. did it at Daytona with the draft. Nobody can get by him. See, there was a big one in the backstretch with Casey Kane in that race in 03, if I remember. I think it was a hard leg. I may have to... Obviously, I won't play the audio of it, but I'm going to have to remind myself of the 2003 Busch Series race, big one at... No. I'm not going to look. I'm not going to waste my time looking up something with audio on it. So... all I gotta say, as far as Kyle Busch leading all 250 laps, I gotta say all I gotta say this: Cale Yarborough, Bristol. End of story. If you don't understand what I mean, Cale Yarborough led every single lap at Bristol, all 500 laps in the 70s. I think it was 73 or 75. Let me go check. Cale Yarborough led 500 of 500 laps. If I remember, 73, 74. Let me see. Might have been 73. It gotta be 73 when Cale Yarborough led every single lap, all 500 of them. Yes. He also did it again in Nashville in 1978. The good old Nashville 420. No pun intended there. That's actually what they called it back in the day, the Nashville 420. Because it was at the old Nashville track back in the good old Nashville track. In case if you're wondering, how does a college student know all the stuff from the 70s? Well, let me tell you. Studying it, learning from it, and understanding the history. I respect the history of the sport. And auto racing in general. When I don't see people discussing about the good old days as far as on YouTube, it's kind of sad that I'm one of the very few that does it, because I saw a video as far as how Alan Kowicki and Tony Stewart should not be compared as far as their championships from 92 with Kawicki and 2011 with Stewart. Here's the key difference. One key difference that the video did not mention, which is very true as well. Alan Kawicki was the sole owner. He didn't have a co-owner. He had a co-owner. Tony Stewart, on the other hand, hence the name Stewart-Haas Racing. He has Gene Haas with him. Therefore, Kawicki's 1992 championship means more for the fact that Kawicki had no co-owner. He pretty much did it by himself. Obviously, I heard that he probably got some Yates engines, Robert Yates engines back then for a couple times, but Kawicki did it pretty much all by himself. Stewart, obviously, he had Gene Haas, Hendrick Motors, and all of that. But obviously, Stewart's 2011 comeback is probably one of the more memorable things in the history of this decade, for that matter. Winning, he even said, and I think it was Michigan, the turning point, Michigan. I like to call it the turning point of the season for Tony. He felt like he didn't deserve to be in the race, in the chase, as far as making it to the chase. Let's see, I think I mentioned about Casey Kane's accident. Yes, it was on the backstretch when Dale Jr. led every single lap, all 100 from the pole. Oh boy. Oh. Okay. All right. Kyle Busch. Going back to Kyle Busch. The funniest thing is that he would win all these races in truck, except for 2012. He didn't win a single truck race, a single Nationwide Series race. He only had one Cup win. Kyle Busch in 2012. Besides that year, Kyle Busch, the thing is, he would win all these races from Nationwide trucks. When it comes to Cup, he can. I don't understand why in Cup he can. Obviously, the Cup Series is tough for competition. I understand that. The competition is very tough in Cup. So much that the most wins going into the chase is 4. The closest is 3. That's the interesting thing. There were 13 different winners going. Half of the race, half of the season has been won by 13 out of the 26 races were won by a driver. Half of the 26 races this year, 13 drivers have won. Wait a minute. No. 12. No. Because you have Kenseth didn't win, Newman didn't win, Biffle didn't win. Yeah, 13 out of the 26 races were different winners. I even looked up the Nationwide Series and Truck Series as far as regulars who won. Obviously, I'm not gonna. Obviously, I'll tell you that in another time. As far as Nationwide Series and Truck Series, the problem when it comes to Cup drivers hogging up the limelight. Trucks is doing okay. Nationwide is doing a lot better than last year. I hope we don't see that shit again with Austin Dillon winning the championship, but failed to win a race because of Cup drivers doing the collateral damage at the end. Obviously, consistency still won him the championship. So that's all I got to say about that. Kyle Busch, don't have him in my Elite 8. I don't have him in my Elite 8. Kyle Busch has been hit and miss. I don't see him moving on past Talladega. Alright. So I have Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kevin Harvick, and Denny Hamlin left. Obviously, I have Hamlin in my Elite 8. Denny Hamlin will stay in the Elite 8. He will not be in the Final 4. Kevin Harvick and Dale Earnhardt Jr. There's the thing. Who will, among those two is the one I want to see? Who will for sure be in the Final 4? Jr. or Harvick? Those are the only spots left. One in the Final 4, one in the Elite 8. Who I think will be in it? Honestly, I'm gonna have to look. Let me look at last year's performance as far as Harvick. Obviously, Harvick's in an RCR car. Well, let's take a look. Take a look at the Sprint Cup schedule as far as how they did previously. Dale Jr. and Kevin Harvick. Luckily, it won't be difficult to keep a track on it. All right, Chicagoland. It could go either way for Harvick and Dale Jr. It can. Anything. There's this thing. Anything can happen in NASCAR. Obviously, it has its moments. Anything can happen. Sometimes it has its predictability. So much that many people compared it to wrestling. I see some of the connection, but I'm not going to talk about wrestling in this video. Not once. It's the only reference I'll make. Alright, Chicagoland. Kevin Harvick, Dale Jr. Dale Jr. finished 35th last year. Kevin Harvick finished 3rd. Loudon. We're going to look at the chase performances for Jr. and Harvick. Obviously, a different year means different things will happen. But here's the thing with Harvick. Harvick won 2 races in the chase. He won at Kansas, and he won at Phoenix. Jr. finished 2nd 3 times in the chase last year. Dover, Talladega, which McMurray won, which is also known for Austin Dillon getting some huge air and wrecking in that 14 car. I still have that win. I had this weird, scary thought about Greg Biffle going into that race. I had this weird thought about Biffle. Something was going to happen to him in that race at Talladega. Thankfully, it did not happen. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you why. It has to do something with the big one. And Kyle Larson's Nationwide Series wrecked, but in a worse degree. Now I'll leave that. Now I'll end it from there. The key difference with Kevin Harvick's worst finish in the chase last year was 20th. Dale Jr.'s worst was 35th in Chicagoland. Obviously, you cannot afford a mulligan. Benny Parsons said it best in the early couple of chases. The first couple of years when the chase started. You cannot afford a mulligan. One mulligan, you may be okay. 2, you're done. This year, you cannot afford a mulligan. I don't think you can afford a mulligan anymore. Look at Dale Jr. He finished 35th. The only one that did bad besides Jr. is Logano, 37th. You do not want to do bad at all this year in the chase because you're pretty much guaranteed elimination from the tournament. Whatever you want to call it this year. Alright, I mentioned Dover for going to being a concern. Martinsville as well is a bit of a concern. But that's the thing. You got to be strong. You got to finish in the top 5. No consistency. Consistency will help you, but when it comes to the Final 4, you got to step up your A game. You got to haul ass and go find some wins. You have no other choice. You have no other choice. The drivers have no other choice. You got to do really well. All right, Dale Jr., Dover. I wanted to look at Dover for real quick. Dover, Dale Jr., 9th. Kevin Harvick, 17th. So Jr. has the advantage on that department. Loudon. Dale Jr. 10th and Loudon the first stop. Kevin Harvick 30th. That's the thing. He has all these good runs, but keep in mind, Kevin Harvick has finished outside the top 35 5 times. 5 times out of the top 35. When you look at Dale Jr., he only finished outside the top 35 twice, including a last place finish. Jeff Gordon, once outside the top 35. He finished 39th at Talladega when Brad Keselowski fucked up the whole field 6 laps down. His other worst finish is Watkins Glen. Besides that, Loudon. I don't even remember how bad was he at Loudon. He did not have a good showing at all at Loudon. He finished 26th. His only non-top 20 finish that wasn't 38th or worse. He finished 26th at Loudon. So he's finished outside the top 20 3 times. Brad Keselowski. Let's take a look at Brad Keselowski. 38th in Martinsville, 38th at Talladega, obviously because of what happened. Fucked up the whole field. 35th Watkins Glen, 39th Atlanta. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 finishes outside the top 35. He finished 35th at Watkins Glen, but that counts as far as 35th or worse. Jimmy Johnson, back-to-back 42nd place finishes at Kentucky, at Daytona and Loudon. He got a 39th at Pocono. That's when he was doing really bad. And 32nd in Richmond. So yeah, all these guys have had their outside of top 35 finishes. This could be very unpredictable. Joey Logano, 35th at Darlington, 32nd Talladega, 40th Pocono, 40th at Loudon. Where do I have Logano? I have him in my Elite 8. Obviously, Logano and Loudon. Everybody knows what happened at Loudon with him, Logano, and Morgan Shepherd. The sad thing is that people are going to remember Morgan Shepherd for that incident more than his wins at Atlanta, for the Wood brothers, Bud Moore being one of the only last guys remaining to a major cup debut in the 70s. Terry Labonte being one of them. But obviously Labonte is pretty much going to retire, guaranteed Hall of Fame induction but in a year or two, guaranteed. Speaking of that, I thought about it too, but never mind. Let's see Dale Earnhardt Jr. Alright. We already looked at Kansas. Harvick finished second, I know that, because Gordon won. Dale Jr. finished fifth. Okay. Talladega, I already told you juniors. Talladega finish was 26. Kevin Harvick 7th. So that's the thing. Obviously, the first time around is completely different because of the conditions, the track setup, the weather, and the season as well. It's very unpredictable, but honestly, sometimes it translates really well. Sometimes it doesn't, depends on the conditions. And forgot to point the ponder on the Kyle Busch. When it comes to Kansas, he hates it. He never has luck in Kansas. Speaking of Kansas, let me see where Kyle Busch finished in Kansas. Okay, he finished 15th in Kansas, so he's kind of somewhat turning things around, but that doesn't help much for Kyle as far as his love-hate relationship with Kansas. Mostly hate. Alright, we're almost an hour through the video, and I'm still trying to figure out. Alright. Charlotte. Coca-Cola 600, Dale Earnhardt Jr. finished 19th, Kevin Harvick finished 2nd. Harvick is going to be a threat at Charlotte. I can see that. Look how he kicked everybody's ass at Atlanta for the most part until Casey Kane was the only one that kind of had to pretty much figure out Harvick as far as the track. Obviously, if Gordon didn't hit the wall, he didn't have that problem and then got buried 2 laps down till the very end to finish on the lead lap somehow, some way because of luck, he might have been a factor too. Martinsville, 3rd for Dale Jr. It's the same day when Brian Silas in the truck race that followed after the Cup race when Kurt Busch won. Brian Silas got out of his truck and fell. I think it was a not top 10 moment in Sports Center if I remember. 7th. They're pretty much neck and seems like every other track they have the advantage over one another. Texas. That's where Junior finished last. Kevin Harvick. 42nd. Obviously, they'll do a lot better in Texas, so I'm not going to consider that as a side as far as judging. Obviously, Harvick won Phoenix when his to the point Brock Lesnar was there. Someday, I don't guarantee it right away. I'm going to have the senseless mind to make a video as far as what theme song fits a NASCAR driver. I have a couple in mind, but I'm not going to go any further because, like I said, this is a NASCAR video. Homestead, Miami. Obviously, Harvick finished 10th. Dale Jr. finished 3rd. Seems like every other track they hit back and forth. That's the thing. Dale Jr. tried everything he can to turn his season around. He only finished outside the top 10 once after Chicago. Harvick finished outside the top 10, but obviously he got the wins that basically helped him. Harvick has 6 poles too. That has helped him a lot. I know qualifying has different setups too. I'm not considering Texas as far as the deciding factor or Chicagoland too much. But I might consider Talladega. Obviously, Junior will be a contender at Talladega. Obviously, after Daytona, the only time he's finished in the top 10, let alone his top 5, was his Daytona 500 victory. I have this sense of feeling that Kevin Harvick will go into the chase and haul ass and kick everybody's ass. That's the thing. Harvick can go. Harvick can go when he knows he's gotta go. That's the one difference that's gonna make Kevin Harvick in my final 4 over Dale Jr. Dale Jr. will finish either 5th or 6th in the points. Then again, who knows what will happen? Who knows? Alright, here are my final 4. Who will I predict will be competing for the championship of the 2014 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Homestead Miami Speedway? Jeff Gordon, Brad Keselowski, Jimmy Johnson, and Kevin Harvick. The elite 8. The 4 drivers that will be out of contention after the penultimate round in Phoenix: Joey Logano, Matt Kenseth, Denny Hamlin, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. After the cutoff at Talladega: Ryan Newman, Carl Edwards, Casey King, Kyle Busch. And after the first 3 races, the ones who are going to be out of contention are Greg Biffle, Kurt Busch, AJ Allmendinger, and Eric Almirola. Now I have to figure out where will I rank them. Oh, I don't know how am I going to rank. Consider that I'm a Jeff Gordon guy. I gotta think realistic too. I gotta think realistic. Okay, 16th. The driver who will finish 16th in the points. Hold on, let me read the chase book. I think that you're stuck there regardless, so it doesn't matter. So let me see. Let me see real quick. So basically, here's basically the guideline. All the chase drivers will get 2,000 points. They will get 2,000 points. You have Keselowski as the championship leader with 2,012 points. Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Wait a minute. There were 5 guys who won 3 races until tonight. Keselowski will get 2,012 points. Gordon, Jr., Logano, and Johnson will get 2,009 points. And then so on and so forth. Carl Edwards had 2 wins. Harvick had 2 wins. So basically, Harvick would be 7th in the points. I would think he'd be 7th in the points. I'm not sure. So basically, the first round is considered the challenger round. And then basically after the first 3 races is the contender round, the Big 12. All of them get 3,000 points. And then obviously they'll get 3,000 points. They won't. It's not. What I'm saying is that they'll be leveled at 3,000 points. I think that's how it works. I'm not sure. Let me see. After each of the first rounds, the 4 chase grid drivers with the fewest season points are eliminated from the grid and championship contention. Any driver in the chase grid who wins the race in the first 3 rounds automatically advances to the next round. Key point. That's why you have to win. So whoever wins this, they move on to the Big 12 or the contender round automatically. Oh, this is what I mean. Also, all drivers eliminated from the chase have their points readjusted to the regular season points scheme. Therefore, this is what I mean about the chase. This is a clusterfuck. So basically, you're saying Eric Almirola Eric Almirola, for example. He'll get 2,003 points. 2,003 points for his win at Daytona. He gets eliminated. You're telling me he'll be from like the top 10, or after 3 races I predict he'll be 16th. You're saying he'll end up 16th after the Challenger round ends. Then he gets eliminated. You're telling me that Eric Almirola will go from 16th back to wherever the fuck he was in points. And I think if I remember, he was outside the top 20. Yeah, outside the top 20. You drop back to the top, outside of the top 20. Oh my goodness, this fucking chase system has to say it. That's the chase, people. Have a laugh about it. It's the chase. What else are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it? Now I fully understand. So basically, you gotta survive. It's like the Survivor Series or some sort. All right. After the contender round ends, we go to the eliminator round. It's kind of an odd name to begin with, the eliminator round. Sounds like a ZZ Top album because there is one that is called like that. Legs, Sharp Dressed Man. The one song from the Pennzoil commercial used to air back in the day, and also it was on an intro on a kart race on NBC in the 80s with Paul Page. All right, eliminator round. The Elite 8 will go up to 4,000 points. And then, obviously, after Phoenix is the Final 4, they'll get up to 5,000 points. Highest finisher wins the title. So basically, doing a ranking of world that end up doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't. Because at the end of the day, they'll get readjusted back to the regular points. Therefore, Kyle Larson could somehow, in some way, can still finish in the top 10 in points. That can't happen. He's not in the chase. But obviously, I have Jeff Gordon, Brad Keselowski, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick in my final 4. Sad thing is Homestead. Gordon has his moments too at Homestead. Jimmy Johnson knows how to win at Homestead because he's won 6 fucking titles. Keselowski's won it before. The only ones who have never won the championship in the chase format are Gordon and Harvick as far as the final 4. Harvick has never won the championship. That elusive Cup championship. This is his first year as Stewart-Haas in the 4 car. First year. And I have him in my final 4. Wouldn't that be something? In his first year, he wins the championship. That would be something, in my opinion. That would be something. I also like Harvick. Obviously, I'm disappointed that Harvick couldn't do it. Didn't have the car that compete with Keselowski a lot. For most people, whoever watches this is specific time. So basically, we're not at midnight Eastern here. It's not till like another 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's not another. So yeah. Yes, I have Gordon, Keselowski, Johnson, and Harvick in my final 4 for the inaugural playoff format, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Man, like Michigan State though. If they beat Oregon, I would have been happy because I don't want to have to worry about Oregon making it to the playoffs. Nope. Gonna wait another week. Alright. What else do I want to discuss? I pretty much gave you my predictions of the chase. I'm not a fan of it at all. Consider that I'm a Gordon fan. He's been fucked over by the chase twice. 04 and 07, for example. 07. Like I said, it could be 2007 all over again, or he could pull the Holy Miracle of the Masses, which would be his championship runs. See, 1995, he won in the finale. 1997, he won in the finale. 1998, in the finale. The funny thing is, as dominant Oh, hold on a minute. As dominant as Jeff Gordon was in the 90s, all of his championship runs, except for 2001, Gordon clinched it in the finale at Atlanta. All three of them. If I remember, Gordon did clinch. Yeah, because you had Dale Jarrett and Mark. You had Earnhardt in '95, Dale Jarrett and Mark Martin in '97, if I recall. '98 at Mark Martin again, if I recall. Let me see. 1998 NASCAR Winston Cup. Obviously, I didn't start watching NASCAR until 2003, so obviously I have to look up a couple of things to refresh my mind if I'm getting it right. Okay, Mark Martin. No, that makes sense to me. Okay. He won it at Rockingham. Okay, that makes more sense because like 1998, he won 13 races. He had to clinch it before. He had to. Okay, half of his title, 95, 97. It was 95 was Earnhardt, 97 was Jarrett and Martin. Obviously, there's that famous photo that Jeff Gordon did dive from the roof in 1997 after winning the title and redesign Atlanta Motor Speedway. Gordon had to finish 40th or better at Rockingham, so that was kind of easy for him. So basically, he clinched it 2 races before the finale, theoretically. Right. Yeah, as far as that, I'm not a fan of the chase. This new system sounds like a clusterfuck, but I clearly understand it a little much better. It's like you gotta look at the information when you gotta look at it. I'm still looking at stuff. There's some stuff I still need to learn. There's some that I've not realized. Like I swear I remember I heard about Gary Bettenhausen's passing. In fact, the first time I ever heard of Gary Bettenhausen was Darling. It was one of those. Remember back in the day, which is the name of the show actually. Back in the day with Dale Earnhardt Jr., the show they used to air on Speed Channel, they show all those Bud Lenneman car and track classic races on mainly from the early to mid '70s. That's how I heard of Gary Bettenhausen when he was driving the Matador number 16, which Bobby Allison also drove. That's how I remember Bettenhausen before I knew he was. Before I even knew he was. He was an IndyCar driver and understood the Bettenhausen name and their lineage as far as American Open Wheels concerned. Obviously, I didn't know about his passing until basically today, because I was wondering what was the reason. I'm trying to remember what was it's today. Recipes as well for Bettenhausen. I'm starting to remember what was the reasoning behind how I found out about Gary. Oh yeah, I remember. I was watching Bump Day 95 Indianapolis 500. I was watching Bump Day 95. When Penske's failed to enter a car in the race. They failed to qualify. Fittipaldi and Unsner Jr. And when the Penske's were not good at all. It was when Paul Tracy was in Newman Haas. And then he came back to Penske in 96. I gotta look into the Paul Tracy, Roger Penske thing because it seemed like they went back and forth as far as Tracy will be 1 year in another team, he'll come back to Penske, then he'll go to another team, he'll be back in Penske. Until he decided to ultimately stay with Team Green and then Forsythe, and then from there on out. Let's see. Yeah, that was the key reason behind it. I was also watching the 94 Indy 500, the 02 Indy 500, little snippets of 1999 Indy 500. Yeah. Let's see. I think that might be it. Obviously, like I said, I'm not sure how long will this video be because I was going to say my predictions of the chase. Obviously, I have here are the people I have eliminated after Dover: Biffle, Kurt Busch, Allmendinger, Almirola. After the 6th race of the season, I have, which is Talladega, I have Newman, Edwards, Kane, and Kyle Busch out. So my Elite 8 going into the Eliminator round. Still sounds like a clusterfuck of a name to me. The Eliminator round, I have Jeff Gordon, Brad Keselowski, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Matt Kenseth, Denny Hamlin, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Going into the Final Four at Homestead, I have Gordon, Keselowski, Johnson, and Harvick. By that much, when it comes to Harvick and Jr., I think either one will make it to the Final Four. And it's going to be close. Or I could be wrong. This is why it's a prediction. I could be wrong. Neither of those two will end up being in the Final Four. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. I'm just hoping this is a good chase, and hopefully this is the year Gordon wins the title from a bias standpoint. As far as realistic, I know Gordon has to start winning and being strong, getting strong finishes. The last couple of races after Michigan, he's kind of been hit and miss. Mostly miss. He finished second last night. Atlanta, he had to sing down there. Bristol, he didn't do good. Michigan, he won. Watkins Glen, he blew an engine. So yeah, the last couple of races have been hit and miss for Gordon. While Harvick, Keselowski have been consistently strong. Obviously, excluding Atlanta for Keselowski and the result of Harvick, which just kind of, how would I say, doesn't do justice, because obviously Kevin Harvick wasn't the car to beat it at Atlanta. Bar none. The car to beat Atlanta. Let me see. Let's see. For the one lonely viewer that is watching this right now live, I hope you gonna comprehend what I'm trying to imply as far as the chase predictions and all that. And also, I pretty much have not much to say as far as the chase, because I pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover in this little preview. But yeah, I think I might have to wrap it up unless I come up with something else to talk about. Let me see. Okay, we'll talk about the guy on the fence. I mentioned this earlier. That's like what he wanted to impress Elio Castroneves. Oh, Michael Waltrip. Oh my goodness, what in the world? He's thinking of going and dancing with the stars. Michael Waltrip. If it's anything like that Napa commercial from a few years ago, pass. I'll pass. I'm not. Then again, I do not watch those shows. I don't watch none of that stuff. I don't. If that was for sure, if I had to pick which one I would watch, either Dancing with the Stars, Breaking Bad, or if you give me Plan C, which would be Growing Up Bella, or the whole Nikki and Brie Bella god-awful storyline, I would go with either Breaking Bad or Dancing with the Stars. End of story. End of story. I cannot stand it cringes me to even listen or watch or even hear the whole Brie Bella, Nikki Bella bullshit that I can see somewhere else. I can see that in Spanish soap operas. I can see that in the Wonder Years. I can see all that bullshit somewhere else. Don't give me that shit on Raw. And in case if you're wondering, why are you still watching Raw? Why are you wondering? Here's the thing. I have my preferences. We all have our preferences. And I'm not even going to talk more about the whole Brie Bella, Nikki Bella bullshit. What I'd like to know is Jimmy Johnson's condition right now, as far as the dehydration, as I mentioned at the top of the show. I feel bad for him. I hope he's okay. Obviously, not a Jimmy Johnson fan by any means, but I don't. Dehydration is the saddest thing to happen. Okay, good. He's out of the care center. 45 minutes ago or plus, he's been out of the care center. Okay, good. So he's gonna be okay. Something similar to that happened to Ricky Rudd when he won in Martinsville with that famous race at the infamous race at Martinsville when humidity was really bad. Let me see. Napa. Yeah, the heat was really bad. That Ricky Rudd. I'm not sure if he was dehydrated or something, but Ricky Rudd The closest thing I can somewhat connect to the whole Jimmy Johnson is when Rudd won the race in 1998 in his own car. It's like I remember hearing about that. I remember seeing footage as far as Ricky Rudd having some sort of similar thing, but also this was Rich Bickle. Yeah, like I said, I'm just bringing up random facts and topics. Rich Bickle's best career finish in Cup was fourth in that race. It was in the 98 car, which was Cale Yarborough's team. I think he's still owning the 98. So I remember 1998 Daytona 500, Bickle drove the car. It was Greg Sachs. Let me see. 98 car. 98 car. Yeah, Greg Sachs drove it for a couple of times. Oh, Michael Fatback McSwain was the crew chief. Obviously, for those people, they know him as Bobby Labonte's crew chief for his last win in Homestead when Bill Elliott blew a tire on the last lap on the last race of the Winston Cup era. At the time, it was the first year I ever watched it. 2003 was the first year I ever watched NASCAR, and I saw to myself like, Bill Elliott retiring. I was like, he's retiring because obviously at the time I thought once they're retired, they're done. They won't come back. And then Texas happened, and in Las Vegas when he drove the 91. Then I kind of realized that he's not running full time anymore. Then obviously I found out semi-retirement, what it means that. He's retired from competing regularly, but he'll show up then and there. Ultimate example, Ric Flair. Oh my goodness, Ric Flair, when it comes to his WrestleMania 24 match with Shawn Michaels. He retires from the WWE, then he shows up in TNA and wrestles. Talk about fucking up a storyline. But then again, if they still have the love and passion of doing it, who can stop them? Maybe the paramedics and the people who worry about their health, but other than that, that's it. Alright. Yeah. Johnson, it's okay, people. I'm glad he's alright. I think I'm gonna end this. I think I'm gonna end it right here. So basically. Yes. Well, the question is, will I be doing a review every single race of the chase? No. What's the point? I'm not going in that route yet. I'm not going in that route yet. Will I do a Ford EcoBoost 400, the championship review as far as the final race of the year? Yes. Two conditions, though. If Jeff Gordon wins the title, I don't guarantee I'll do one right away. And if Gordon does not win the title, I'll be disappointed. But as long as I feel like I'll be happy with, I'll do one anyways. I'm still gonna do one anyways. Not sure if I'll do it right away or then. But then again, that's not till 10 weeks. 10 weeks is a different ballgame. 10 weeks. So yes, here's your big picture. 10 races, 16 drivers, 4 rounds. You have your Sweet 16 right now, then after Dover, you have your Big 12, then you have your Elite 8, and then the Final 4. All I gotta say, 2014 has been pretty good. It's been pretty good. Richmond would have to be one of the races the only highlight of that race was the guy on the fence. That is pretty much it. That's all. I wonder what they did. I'm pretty sure they arrested the guy who climbed on top of the fence. This is not the 1960s. Remember, back in the day, 1960s, you see people watching it from large billboards. Go watch Grand Prix. Grand Prix is the ultimate example, especially when they were in the climax in the movie of Monza. I won't tell you the spoiler alerts of what happened, unless if you already seen Grand Prix. If you're a racing fan, you have to see Grand Prix. You have to see Grand Prix. 3-time Oscar-winning film. Don't watch. Okay, I was watching Driven, the crash scenes that I saw. I was reading the comments on. It was like best of Driven, crash scenes only. That show, like, I saw. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the hell is going? They show Elio Castroneves, like almost trying to spin out in the 2000. It was footage from the 2000 Toronto Grand Prix. Then the Visteon car, the silver and black car, was I think it was Udro. Let me see. Obviously, this is it's just a NASCAR video, but like I said in the info, I'll talk whatever is on my mind because I pretty much covered everything that I need to cover on the Chase preview. I'm trying to remember. I don't think it will tell me. Let me see, because I want to figure out who drove that car. The sponsorship, because I don't think they tell you the sponsorship. So I'm going to look up. A kart driver from 2000. We'll look up Memo Gidley, because I know he drove kart in 2000. Not sure he drove Toronto. No, he did not drive Toronto. But I'm guessing. I'll find it. I'll look up Chicago. Visteon. Roberto Moreno in the 20. Go watch the video. Type in best of driven crash scenes only. You'll get the understanding. The portraying of Roberto Moreno's car exploded, and all of a sudden to show the wall Toronto, showing some random ass world course, Michael Bay explosion, and obviously the infamous scene when Max Papis hit the number 10 DirecTV car, which was Memo Gidley's. It's like, oh, we got trouble. Max Papis is airborne. Unrealistic. I was reading the comments, like I pretty much had a good laugh. It's like, wow, look at him, look at the air, look at the size of that car. And yeah, anybody that watches this after this, you might be thinking, what is it? What am I talking about? This is just random talk, because it's pretty much somewhat become a little mini round table that I'm just talking about racing stuff, because obviously I have a passion for racing, without a doubt. But yeah, go watch it sometime. Max Papis is airborne. Yeah. Whatever. Anyways, after almost 1.5 hours of pure bust and fail of saying what I predict, I'm gonna wrap it up here. So yeah, I gotta figure out what the hell am I gonna do from here. Anyways, until we meet again, hope you enjoyed the video at least. I try to make it positive. I don't know how to make it negative, because obviously you gotta find a positive instead of a negative. You have to, at some point. Anyways, yeah, until we meet again, it's time for me the bounds. I'll probably do a couple NASCAR videos then and there, but very likely I'll do the next one might be the Ford EcoBoost 400 review. Not sure. Stay tuned. If anybody cares, or anybody cares to watch this video to begin with, I do it because I want to. If nobody wants it, fine, so be it. Good night. Until we meet again. What the fuck was that guy thinking being on that damn fence?